Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I'm going to be getting into my September TBR. This is going to be every single book that I want to read in the month of September. Before we get into the books, I do want to take a moment to remind you guys about a very special announcement that I've been talking about over on my YouTube community tab and on my other social media, but I have not mentioned it in a video yet. So that is about the trip that I am taking with Trova Trip. We are going to Bali. I am so freaking excited and I want you to come with me. You people out there that I've been talking with, building relationships with over the course of years when I started this little channel during the pandemic. I finally get this like once in a lifetime chance to meet you guys, travel with you, explore Bali. So if you want to go, I will leave all the links down below. I'm so excited. There's so much info on my community tab as well as on my Instagram story. So if you are interested in traveling with me next summer 2024, Bali 2024, look at everything down below and you can reserve your spot now. I believe there are a couple early bird spots that are still open and you get $200 off of those spots if you book the early bird. I've heard absolutely amazing things about Trova Trip, so I can't wait to have one of my own. Gavin and Gabby are actually in Japan right now and I've been watching their stories like, oh my god, I can't believe that's gonna be me next summer in Bali. Like, so let me know down below if you have any questions. Check it out. And with that announcement, now let's go ahead and get into my September TBR. So the first kind of section of books that I want to read in September are book club picks, and I have quite a few, and they're all thrillers. First up, obviously, we have my book club pick for September. I host my Pretty Girl Book Club over on Patreon. Link is always down below if you want to join and read along with us. Our book club pick for September is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I am so excited. If you've been around here for a while, you know how much I love Lisa Jewell. Every single one of her releases I've just really resonated with. She writes in a way that really develops characters without bogging down the story. I feel like I know these people, they are flawed people, but it doesn't take away from that twisty and engaging plot. So I'm super excited to get into her new release. I've heard amazing things about it. I don't know much about the actual like plot, and honestly, I don't want to know. I like to go in blind and to discover what's going on along the way, especially for my book club picks, because I want to try to set myself up to enjoy it the most that I possibly can. So this is our read for the Pretty Girl Book Club this month, and I will also be reading Good Bad Girl for the Midnight Society Book Club over on Elizabeth's channel, Elizabeth from Reading Riley. If you are not subscribed to her, you definitely should. Of course, I will link her down below, and I'm going to be co-hosting her Midnight Society Book Club in September along with I think a couple other people, so I will link them down below as well. But we're going to be reading Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. This is her new release from, I believe, August, so it's been out for less than a month and it sounds so interesting. It's a very vague synopsis and it's actually a very short book. I think it's just over 300 pages, but it's following the disappearance of a baby. This baby was stolen from a stroller years ago, and then this old woman is murdered in like a end-of-life care facility. So a baby and an old woman are taken out years apart, and for some reason we are finding out that these cases are connected and trying to figure out how, who killed them, whatever happened to this baby. Just initially hearing the synopsis, like, I have theories, my mind is going, but we all know Alice Feeney and her twists are gonna come out of nowhere. So I'm super excited to read it. It feels like it's gonna be short, sweet, twisty, and have those early fall vibes, which I'm all about. By the way, do we like the like Halloween lights situation and my little bloody knife earrings and my little Chucky shirt? Like, I am feeling all the Halloween energy. It is officially, to me, Halloween until maybe like November 26th. that's like around the time when I will start getting into Christmas mode, but for now it's Halloween season, so I will be here until further notice. And the last book club I'm going to be reading for is Deja's book club on her Patreon. Actually, I had people asking when I mentioned Deja in other videos, like asking in the comments, who is this Deja person that she keeps talking about? Deja from Deja's Book World. She is like one of my booktube besties. I will link her channel down below, and she also has a book club on Patreon. I'm a part of her Patreon, so I'm going to be reading along with her. And her pick for September is She Started It by Cian Gilbert, and this is a book of the month thriller that I've been wanting to get to, but I just haven't yet. So I'm excited to have an excuse to read it. And I believe this is following a bachelorette party, some like tropical destination somewhere. Ooh, yeah, it's an extravagant bachelorette, 3 days of white sand cocktails and relaxation on a private island in the Bahamas. But it's like all these people are connected from their past, from high school and things like that, and all their past drama is coming up and manifesting in secrets, lies, and eventually murder. It just sounds juicy and fun, and of course it's still really, really hot here. In Austin, it's still over 100 degrees every single day, so I know I'm going to be laying by the pool some days out of the month, even though I'm trying to lean into my fall energy, and this is going to be my book for by the pool. I do have a few other thrillers on my TBR for September, just things to keep in mind for like new release thriller vlogs and things like that. I haven't really been in a thriller mood, but I actually just read one that I can't wait to talk about in my wrap up because it's kind of reinvigorated my thriller love. So let me go over the few other thrillers that I might be getting to. First up, we have Look Closer by David Ellis, and everyone in my Patreon group has been reading this book and just like obsessed with it. Even Aspen from Aspen's Archive, who I absolutely love, she does not give out 5 stars for thrillers. I think there are 3 thrillers ever that she's given 5 stars, and this is one of them. The only complaint that I've heard is that it's a little long, and it is kind of a chunky thriller, but apparently it has just like mind-shaking, gooped, gabbed twists that are unbelievable. So I feel like this is gonna be this year's version of like Hidden Pictures, where it just has this unique twist that comes out of nowhere that nobody's expecting. Like, I have high expectations for this book because I feel like it's gonna be like Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, Gone Girl, Hidden Pictures. Like, it's gonna be a twist like that, I think. And it has like rich people drama and secrets, lies, all the things that I love in a juicy little thriller. It starts out following Simon and Vicky, a wealthy Chicago couple with a stable if unexciting marriage, but nothing is what it seems in their marriage when a beautiful socialite is found hanging in a mansion nearby in the suburbs. Their complex web of secrets begins to unravel. A whirlwind affair, $20 million trust funds about to come due, and decades-long grudges, plus an obsession with revenge. These are just a few of the lies they have told, which will have devastating consequences. So it did mention obsession, and that is something that a lot of people say in their reviews of this book, that it's like giving obsession, stalker vibes. Love it. Very excited for this one. I also have the new Sherry Lapina. So Everyone Here Is Lying. This is giving like very standard Sherry Lapina release, suburban domestic thriller. And this is about a missing little girl. I believe she's like 9 or 10. Yeah, 9-year-old girl. So her dad is apparently like this upstanding pillar of their suburban community, and he is having an affair. Of course, because all upstanding men in the community in suburban thrillers are having an affair. And he's at his mistress's house, comes home, and then randomly his daughter is home from school. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And then, while he is seeing her at home, like she's directly under his care, she goes missing. So obviously he can't give an alibi of where he was beforehand, because he was with the mistress. And also it's like, did she get killed by the dad? Like, what's going on? I don't know. This is kind of giving convoluted synopsis, kind of similar to something like The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth, where I read the synopsis and I know what's going on in theory, but like, what is it actually? So I'm excited to see where this goes. I know it's going to give me my little dose of domestic thriller drama that I'm craving. I also have Cutting Teeth by Chandler Baker. This is another little suburban thriller, but with a bloody little kind of like horror twist. It's about this perfect suburban little neighborhood, but everything is not what it seems with the children who live there. They are not only having behavioral issues, but a teacher is found dead, and the only potential witnesses are 10 adorable, sweet, gap-toothed, blood-sucking 4-year-olds. The children are not what they seem. They are what? Cannibals? Vampires? Monsters? I don't know, but this is like the perfect vibe that I'm looking for. It's reminding me of something like Suburban Hell or like Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Like something like that is the vibe that I'm looking for from this book. I always read like one of those type of books around this early fall time. It just feels perfect. And the last book that I have in my little thriller category, I don't know if it's exactly a thriller, but this is a book that's been following me and I feel like I have to read it this month. It is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, and this is kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like comedic, satirical, dark mystery vibes. Another convoluted synopsis as well. I'm just gonna read it directly because I'm not gonna describe it well. It says, white lies, dark humor, deadly consequences. Juniper Song is not who she says she is. She did not write the book that she claims to have written, and she is most certainly not Asian American. In this chilling and hilariously cutting novel from the #1 New York Times bestselling author R.F. Kuang, so this girl, I guess, is pretending to be Asian and writing a book, but she really like stole it from someone who is Asian and did write the book, which is like a scandal on its own. But then I guess there's some kind of mystery murder. I don't know. People are saying that it's giving thriller. It doesn't sound like it's giving thriller. If anything, it sounds very similar to The Plot by Jean-Humphrey Ramage. Am I getting that name right? I don't remember. But I love that one and I gave that one 5 stars. So hopefully this is similar to that, but with a little bit more like dark humor, which obviously I love on this channel. We will see. Next up, I have a grouping of books that I ordered from authors who were so wonderful in the past month and have come out to not only support me, but also publicly denounce misogyny in the horror and thriller spaces, which is something that needs to be talked about. I don't know why many authors are just so afraid to speak publicly about this, but they are. So I really want to take a moment to lift up the people who aren't afraid to do that. There are a ton more authors that I've ordered books from. I am planning on doing a little haul of all of those books, both the ones that I got on my Kindle and physically. These are just the ones that I'm going to prioritize this month because of, I don't know, one reason or another, they just stood out to me and I'm very interested in them. First of all, I've been on a massive Chandler Morrison kick besides all of the stuff that's been going on. So I got another one of his books, #Thigh Gap, and hello, like this cover. Yeah. So obviously this is going to touch on eating disorder triggers. I do have those triggers, but I am feeling very comfortable reading from that right now. So I'm interested to see the type of commentary that's going to be in here. I love campy, satirical LA style commentary that Chandler Morrison has in all of his books that I've read. And this one says, a Los Angeles fashion model, Helen Troy, wasn't always skinny. Drastic weight loss has given her everything: money, confidence, attention, respect. Being thin has legitimized her, and starvation has become her addiction. Following an encounter with a seemingly perfect rival model, she is sent into a tragic tailspin that will take her to the lowest depths of hell. Nightmarish versions of herself begin materializing in mirrors, and her tried and true coping mechanisms stop working. Reality comes apart at the seams as her disease manifests in increasingly self-destructive ways, forcing her to ask the question, what does perfection look like, and how much would you sacrifice to obtain it? Yeah, I definitely need this. I need this commentary in my life. And thank you so much to whoever recommended this to me in a comment. I literally ordered it because of you and because I love Chandler Morrison. So thank you for that. I also have Small Town Monsters by Diana Rodriguez Wallach. And the tagline here, first of all, I love the cover. It's giving me early fall, and I'm all about the early fall vibes, but they want you. Ooh, who? And this is like very small town vibes, kind of similar to Cutting Teeth, where it's like this perfect little suburban moment, but something is going on under the surface. There are terrifying occult things lurking in this woman's basement of her suburban home, like childhood home. And then this other guy lives down the street and his mom is morphing into a monster that he does not recognize. So these two people who are experiencing the dark underbelly of their suburban town are up against some kind of dark forces that extend far past their small coastal hometown into the very heart of evil. Yes. And then I also have The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. And this I've heard so much about before I even was aware of the way that this author speaks about things in the community. I highly, if you're interested in like any kind of literary commentary, highly recommend going to check out Gabino Iglesias's TikTok. He speaks really eloquently about many topics, and I actually just like went down a deep dive of his social media because I love the way that he speaks. It's just so eloquent, and I don't know, he's just so well spoken. So I cannot wait to read his written words. And when I read the synopsis, I was like, wait, pause, pump the brakes, because this sounds very similar to one of my favorite books of the year so far, which is Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby. And the synopsis is very similar. It's like this guy who becomes a hitman. He's like pulled into this life of crime, and then he's like, I'm gonna give it all up, be with my family, blah blah blah. And then this one offer of a job that he can't refuse comes up, and it could be this massive payout or it could be a suicide mission. But he decides to take it, knowing the risks, and one thing is certain, even if he makes it out alive, he will return a different man. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this one. Next up, I have a little grouping of books for, I know it's gonna be a vlog, but I don't know what type of vlog it's gonna be. Like, I was gonna call it a taste test and just do like one booktuber that I was gonna have like a few of their favorite books and read from them and see if our tastes align, but I feel like I've done that in the past, and I had a bunch of other books that I wanted to read from a few booktubers, so I think I'm just gonna do like general booktube made me read it kind of vlog and read some of the recommendations from my friends. The first one being Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and this is Aspen from Aspen's Archives' favorite book of all time. She's read it like a million times. It's been highlighted. Her copy is like destroyed, annotated. It's the one thing she would save in a fire. Like, that is how much she loves this book, and I trust her with my life. So of course I gotta give it a read. And this is actually one of the classics that I haven't read. It's pretty short. It's packed with meaning, apparently, so very excited for this one, inspired by Aspen. I also picked up A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. I remember originally hearing about this one from Cat Chats, I believe. Hopefully. Cat Chats reads so many good for her unhinged women books. Like, a lot of my recs that I give are because I read them on her recommendation first. So definitely go subscribe to her if you haven't already. I absolutely love her videos. Her Wheel of TBR, I'm entranced. I literally got the post notice on and I'm watching immediately. And I'm pretty sure I heard this one from her. I don't remember if she liked it or not, but it's been on my radar for a while, and someone else commented on my Feminine Rage recommendation video that based on those books that I enjoyed, I would also like this one. So I believe this is about a woman who is a cannibal. Very like successful chef in the culinary arts. Little do people know, she cooks people. And my last two books for this vlog are both inspired by Deja, my bestie of all besties. We recently met in person, so if it seems like I'm obsessed with her, it's because I want her to come back. I'm already missing her. We had such an amazing time together. But her favorite books are Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield and Slewfoot by Brahm. So I'm gonna read both of these because of her. We sometimes overlap in our taste and sometimes don't. I'm interested to see how these work out. This one is very like underwater kind of vibes. It says Leah is changed. She is a marine biologist and she left for a routine expedition, but her submarine sank to the sea floor. When she finally resurfaces and returns to her wife, her partner knows that something is wrong with her. She's barely eating, she's lost in her thoughts. So whatever happened in that submarine, whatever it was they were supposed to be studying, she's carried a part of it with her home. And as her wife searches for answers, desperate to understand what happened, she must face the possibility that the woman she loves is slipping away. Tragic love story, underwater horror, queer rep. Yeah. And then I have Slewfoot by Brahm, which I really do not like the shape of this book. I was like, oh, there must be like a lot of pictures in this book for it to be a weird shape. Nah. There's literally like one photo or a few photos in the middle, and I'm like, I don't like the shape of it. I don't. Also, a lot of things just initially off the bat annoy me about this book. By Brahm? Brahm? Who are you? Who's Brahm? Am I supposed to know who Brahm is? If you're a person with one name, like, you're supposed to be giving Madonna. You're supposed to be giving Cher. Brahm, I've never heard of you. Who are you? If this person's like super famous and I'm just living under a rock, I'm gonna feel so embarrassed. But like, who's Brahm? Because anytime I've heard someone talk about this book in a video, they're like, anyways, Slewfoot by Brahm, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're just gonna breeze over the fact that it's a one name situation. Okay, Brahm, we will see if you're worthy of your one name title. When I read this book. It's apparently got like witchy, good for her vibes, but it is dark fantasy, and we know that I don't do super well with fantasy, so we will see. Next up, I have a couple extreme horror reads that I want to get to in September. Yes, I am in fact an extreme horror lover. As much as the world would like to paint me otherwise, I've been reading extreme horror and I will continue to read it because I do in fact enjoy it. I just feel like there are certain important conversations that need to happen around the genre as need to happen around all genres and all things, because nuance does in fact exist everywhere. Extreme horror is not exempt. So my extreme horror reads for the month of September are going to be, first up, Screaming to Get Out by J.F. Gonzalez. This is one of the J.F. Gonzalez books that has been reprinted, republished in a beautiful little paperback, and I have her. It's a story collection. They range from quiet tales of unease and cosmic nightmares to tales of psychological suspense and dystopia. It's his most varied collection of short fiction. So I really want to get a taste of like everything J.F. Gonzalez does because I'm just absolutely obsessed with his work. I cannot wait for the reprinting of Survivor. Apparently that is set for October. So if you've been waiting to get your hands on Survivor, one of my favorite books of all time, I believe Brian Keene is the one who is in charge of managing J.F. Gonzalez's estate, and he announced on Twitter that that is going to be happening in October. So wait for that. Do not spend hundreds of dollars on a copy of Survivor because it's about to come out again, and I just wanted to get more work from one of my favorite extreme horror authors before more stuff comes out so I can keep up. And then my other extreme horror pick is The Resurrectionist by Wrath James White. And this one, I've heard that it's absolutely crazy, absolutely insane, which I do enjoy that, obviously, but I will, as always, as I read every book read with a critical lens. So I don't know. Don't watch my wrap up if you're going to be easily triggered by me critiquing books. Because I might have things to say about this one based on what some people have shared with me. Basically, this is about a woman who is brutally attacked. She at first dreams that this happens and she thinks like, oh my God, I just had the most horrifying nightmare about me and my husband being murdered, but I just woke up in my bed and I'm fine. Well, she wakes up in the morning and there's dried blood on the sheets and she's like, okay, how much of that was real? So it's kind of giving like Nightmare on Elm Street vibes, but somehow she survived through it. And this ends up repeating night after night after night. So she has to continually endure this nightmare that we're unsure if it's real or not, and she's surviving. She has to save herself again and again from being murdered, and I believe that she finds out like she's the resurrectionist. I don't know what that means. I'm excited to find out, and apparently experience the depth of depravity in this book that like people are really telling me that this is intense, and based off like some of the other things I've read, I'm fairly sure I can handle it just fine, but people are talking about this like this is the most wild thing they've ever read, so we will see. And the last couple books that I tacked on my TBR, I am such a mood reader at heart, and I just wanted to unlock some of my early fall vibes for September. So these are the two books that stood out to me the most for that. The first one is very, 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 very far out of my comfort zone, so we will see about it. It is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Hero, and I heard just great things about this. This was recommended to me in my Patreon group, and I love the vibes. Initially, I love the deckled edges. I just feel like I need to cozy up in my fall decorated apartment with this book and a hot toddy and a piece of pumpkin bread. Like that is all I want, and that's gonna be the vibes that I need. But this is a fantasy book, so I don't know if I'll enjoy it, but we will see. It says in 1893, not the historical, I'm scared. There's no such thing as witches. There used to be before the burnings began, but now witching is nothing but tidy charms and nursery rhymes. If the modern woman wants any measure of power, she must find it at the ballot box. But when the Eastwood sisters joined suffragists of New Salem, they began to pursue the forgotten words and ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches' movement. So it's like women's suffrage meets witchery, commentary, witches, fall vibes. I don't know how like horror this is gonna be. It seems more quaint than thrilling, which is not usually something that I read, but I'm gonna give it a try. And the last book that I have on my September TBR is The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson, and hello. Is this cover not just perfect? Like this is September. This is what I want my September to look like. I'm obsessed. It's set in the 80s, so it's already giving that like vintagey nostalgia moment. And it's following this little group of kiddos, which is very Stranger Things-esque. They're like 12. And they're initiated into this little group, which they call the Saturday Night Ghost Club. It starts out as a lighthearted little project for them, but over the course of the summer, they uncover mysteries darker than any of its members had ever imagined. And it feels like it has the warmth and heartbreak of one of the best coming-of-age stories. Yeah, this is everything I need for early fall. I am so ready for this, and honestly, just going over all these books, I'm so excited for all of them. I feel like my September reading month is about to slay. So that is everything that I had to share with you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Before you go, make sure and check out all the info down below for my Bali trip, and I would love to have you with me. So if you have any clarifying questions, concerns, whatever, let me know down below and I will answer. I will be in the comments of this video. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week, and I will see you in my next one.